Awe, courage, and the second act. Designing a life that still expands after 60. There comes a quiet moment in later life that few people talk about. It's not a crisis, it's not despair, and it's not failure. It's a pause. A moment when the urgency of the first half of life fades and a question appears. Is my life still expanding, or am I just maintaining? This episode is about that question. Not from fear, not from pressure, but from possibility. Because life after 60 is not meant to shrink. It's meant to change shape. And when designed with intention, it can still expand in meaning, depth, curiosity, and awe. Part 1. The second act is not a decline. We're taught to think of life in stages: growth peak, decline. But that story is incomplete. The second act is not about acceleration. It's about refinement. You don't need more speed, you need more alignment. You don't need to prove anything. You need to experience more of what matters. Expansion after 60 is not louder, it's deeper. Part 2. Why awe matters more as we age. Awe is not a luxury. It's a biological and psychological need. When we experience awe, moments that are larger than us, something important happens. The brain quiets self-obsession, stress hormones drop, perspective widens, meaning increases. Awe reminds us that we are part of something bigger, without diminishing who we are. After 60, awe becomes protective. It counters rumination, fear, contraction, and emotional stagnation. A life without awe slowly hardens. A life with awe stays porous. Part 3. Courage after 60 is quieter, but stronger. Courage in the first half of life often looks like risk-taking. Courage in the second act looks like honesty. Honesty about what no longer fits, what still calls you, what you're done tolerating, and what you're finally ready to explore. This courage doesn't shout. It whispers, "I still want to grow." That whisper matters. Part 4. The hidden danger of over-preservation. Many people enter later life with a single goal: don't lose what I have. Health, stability, routine. Preservation matters. But when preservation becomes the only goal, life contracts, curiosity fades, risk tolerance drops, designing erodes. Designing a good second act means balancing preservation and expansion. You protect what matters, and you still allow yourself to be changed. Part 5. Expansion doesn't mean reinvention. This is important. The second act is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more yourself. Expansion might look like learning a skill you never had time for, exploring environments that support calm and curiosity, deepening relationships, contributing wisdom instead of effort, experiencing beauty without urgency. No resume required, no reinvention pressure, just alignment. Part 6. Awe is designed, not accidental. Awe doesn't just happen, it's cultivated. People who experience awe later in life often spend time in nature, engage in learning, move their bodies in unfamiliar ways, stay curious, place themselves in environments that inspire calm and wonder. This is design. You choose where you live, how you move, who you spend time with, what you expose your nervous system to. Awe is a result of those choices. Part 7. Why learning keeps the second act open. Learning is expansion in action. Not learning to earn, learning to engage. When you learn later in life, the brain stays flexible, identity stays fluid, confidence stays alive. Learning says, "My story is still unfolding." That belief alone changes how people age. Part 8. The role of courage in saying yes and no. Courage after 60 isn't just about trying new things. It's also about letting go. Letting go of obligations that drain you, roles you've outgrown, environments that feel tight, urgency that no longer serves. Designing a second act requires discernment. Not everything deserves your energy anymore, and that clarity is a gift. Part 9. Social expansion without exhaustion. Many people fear isolation later in life, but social expansion doesn't mean constant activity. It means meaningful connection, shared learning, shared curiosity, shared presence. The second act thrives in small groups, honest conversations, intergenerational exchange, community without performance. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to belong somewhere. Part 10. Courage as daily choice. Courage doesn't arrive in dramatic moments. It shows up quietly when you take a walk somewhere new, start a class, ask a question, admit you're curious to something gently unfamiliar. These small acts accumulate, and over time, they shape the tone of aging. Part 11. Expansion is how we resist fear-based aging. Fear-based aging asks, how do I avoid loss? Expansion-based aging asks, how do I stay engaged? One contracts life, the other keeps it breathing. You don't deny reality, you design within it. Part 12. Designing a second act that still feels alive. Designing a life that expands after 60 means asking better questions. Not, how do I stay young, but what still fills me with awe? Where do I feel calm and curious? What kind of learning excites me now? What kind of contribution feels natural? What environment supports who I'm becoming? These questions don't rush answers. They open doors. Part 13. Awe as a compass. Awe becomes a compass in the second act. When something fills you with quiet wonder, pay attention. That's often where expansion lives, not in noise, not in pressure, but in resonance. The second act is still yours. Life after 60 is not an epilogue. It's a second act, one shaped less by ambition and more by intention, less by urgency and more by meaning. Awe keeps the heart open. Courage keeps the path unfolding. And design, thoughtful, gentle design, keeps life expanding. If you want, comment awe, and I'll share a simple reflection guide to help you design a second act that still feels alive, curious, and grounded. And as we move into April, we'll focus on protecting this expansion, building strength, capability, and resilience, so the life you design remains livable for decades. Until then, stay re-inspired.
I hope this video brought you value and re-inspired you. If so, please subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment. And if anybody you know could use a little re-inspiration, please send it to them. Thank you so much for watching.